Hello and welcome to the Energy Reports. We're covering October 8th to 14th, right? 8th
That's
to 14th, a little quick
right.
math in the head. I'm Natalie Ross of Dream
Um,
Freedom Beauty and
I'm Rebecca Conran of Rebecca Conran.
of the Energy Report with Rebecca Conran.
Yeah,
Cool.
and it's not you, it's me wellness, I guess. That's the old name.
Yeah, still in practice, but welcome.
And
So
any news on your new name?
oh my gosh. Okay, so at the end of last week's energy report, I put out a little call to people's ideas about Dream Freedom Beauty as a resonating name, and are there any names that better resonate with what we actually cover and talk about in the podcast. And I am so grateful. Thank you for everyone who Instagrammed. I got a lot of Instagram DMs, and it was really fun. And then I also put out on Instagram stories on Sunday, September 30th, that this idea about making Dream Freedom Beauty more of an online publishing house, not necessarily print, though I'm not against it, but just I know digital, and incorporating more of the community as authors and collaborators. And what are people's ideas with that? Are they into that? And you know, I got a lot of awesome responses from that too. So if people are like, "Oh fuck yeah," uh, holler at me. Let's see what's up because I'm exploring this. No guarantees, no promises, but I'm exploring it because I want to see what the community wants and can that align with what I can provide, and that is going to be a valuable asset to all of us. So there we go. That's
Yeah,
fuck
I
yeah.
can't wait to see what happens. There's a lot going on here.
Yeah, and you know what?
Um,
In our last week, so we record 1 week in advance of the week that it goes live for. So we're recording
yeah.
Monday, October 1st, right now. And last week, um, we talked about the death card, and I just want to follow up with that a little bit too before we jump into this week's, because I'm feeling, I don't know, I'm not having a death experience, but I'm feeling it already. It's like Monday, and I'm like, holy crap. I had such a amazing, fulfilling, free-spirited, adventurous weekend. And this morning, Monday morning, I woke up like, ugh, and it just felt like this kind of dread and emptiness. And I'm like, wow, my literal dreams were fulfilled this weekend, and now I feel empty. And that's something that, for me, I recognize as a death phase in any endeavor, is when the fulfillment occurs and the high is over of, that like fulfilling a dream, and then you're like, now what? And so I am very much in that space right now, just from some personal dreams that have nothing to do with Dream Freedom Beauty, but really feeling it and just being with myself today to just let it be what it is. So I just wanted to say that, speak that, and share that for my own purpose, because I'm feeling selfish
Yeah.
today.
Well, and I think something that because we record these a week in advance, when we recorded this, uh, and especially to do with Venus going retrograde, right, which really touches on this entire sexual trauma that we've been revealing, like uncovering publicly for the last year and
Right, in the
some,
United States, especially, around the
in the
world.
United States, yeah, especially with the Jupiter and Scorpio and that retrograde, and
Mm-hmm.
that's definitely being touched on now. Um, but we recorded before all the Kavanaugh stuff
Right. Mm-hmm.
blew up.
Mm-hmm.
And as a practitioner, I definitely have seen, and myself, although I think I feel a little bit more removed from it because I don't watch TV, or I don't have a TV and I don't watch news.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of, I curate my own news that I intake. So I guess I don't feel as triggered by the lies and mistruths because I know that they're happening.
Yep.
But I just try not to even tune into that kind of crisis because it's just lies and mistruths.
Coming from that man. Oh yeah.
Yeah. But next week, what we decided to do is next week, we're still going to do our energy report, and we're going to do our rituals and our weekly theme and our tarot. And because there's no major planetary shifts next week, we're going to really focus on, it's going to be our kind of sexual trauma energy report. Around Natalie and I are going to share some of our experiences and, ritual. Oops, just kicked the thing. Rituals and tips around how to work with it. And by then, we may know what the result. It may be the end of the FBI probe, and we may know more about like the future of our Supreme Court here. But yeah, just so you know, that's what we're going to be tapping into. And if you've been feeling really triggered by a lot of the trauma, because the brain doesn't really know the difference between reading about someone else's sexual assault and our own. So if you've been really feeling that, Natalie has some advice to give. And my advice is talk to people, talk to other women and divulge the truth of what your experience has been to people, and let yourself be supported and, give and receive the gift of holding space and listening to women and any other beings in our community who have a story of sexual assault or sexual violence in any way. And just holding space with one another, and definitely finding those groups of people where you can, or a mentor or a healer, somebody where you can open up about like some of the stuff that is that you may feel shame or judgment, or all of those things that happen when you are a victim of sexual violence. So
totally. Right. Self-care, everybody. Yeah, I guess my little PSA for the whole thing happening here in the United States with the Supreme Court and this and Ford and Kavanaugh is I'm seeing a lot of people on social media talking about how intense it is for them and triggering and all these things, and I honor that, and get the support you need. And like Rebecca said, talk to people, get the support you need. You don't have to sit there and suffer in your triggered pain and wounding. And also, if you feel like drawn to listen to or watch the trial and every word, then check your motives, because I know for me, my nervous system cannot handle that. I would be a wreck if I was watching it all. And so if that's happening to you, maybe, check in with yourself and see, like, can you get the information you need? Like, at the end of the day, can you check in, read the news articles and headlines, give yourself a time limit, just get the news, get a picture of where we're at and the most important parts, and then go on with your day and like take action on anything you feel inspired to take action on. And but you don't have to listen. And if you don't listen and you don't watch the whole thing, you're not a bad person. You're not being irresponsible. You need to take care of yourself through this too. This is a balancing act here.
Well, and I think something that we have to note too is that like trauma and the sharing and reliving of trauma can be beneficial to some people if they are completely closed off from their self-responsibility. So I can see how for many people in America who are not engaging necessarily in any sort of self-help or self-responsibility or spiritual work, that some of the shocking things that they're seeing revealed and the beautiful testimony that we saw, that's important for them to see and to connect into. And for some of us who are really attuned that the suffering is existing in the world, like highly attuned to that we are, which is why we're trying to develop breaking down this, like revealing our true selves to ourselves as a means to support the collective and to support our society. You do get to, I do think it is important to disconnect from some of the stuff that is meant to be sensationalist as well in some ways, so I think only where you're at and what's right for you. But if you if you feel extremely triggered and traumatized by what you're seeing, you can support without watching it. You can support by sending some love to victims and to those strong enough to use their voice and speak out. You can send that love to them, without necessarily watching the stuff. But again, I can see how it is important for our country to see these things, and to really see its effect written on the faces of women who are speaking up for themselves. And it's important for us to support, but we can stand in solidarity without necessarily sitting in the quagmire of the trauma too, sitting in the solution, or our self-responsibility, and sending love,
right.
And sending the solution energy as well.
No judgment, no shame, whatever your choices are. We're just giving people who maybe needed a little reminder or permission to have that, to give permission to themselves.
Absolutely.
To do it whatever way they need. Yeah.
I actually decided to take this month off of social media, and I think it's been really helpful, because I think one of the things that it's hard when you read these articles and you see these things, you read the comments on posts and stuff. It's hard not to get really fucking angry with
totally
these unconscious people, and to be really motivated from a place of just sheer disappointment, ultimately, that people are just so seemingly inhumane, and tapping into their energy isn't the solution to their energy. We're going to have to be, as we've talked about all year, we're going to have to be ingenious about how we support these things and create new pathways. And that doesn't mean not being angry. That doesn't mean not, feeling upset and whatever we're feeling,
right.
Rage, discouragement,
a lot of disappointment,
absolutely.
Betrayal.
Yeah, it's just really about finding the line where we go into overload, where it becomes not helpful, and where we are maybe skipping over anything that could be helpful, because we're sort of stuck in the in only in one side of the story here, and I was talking about this in my newsletter this last week too, about humanity has for eons oppressed the feminine energy, in males and females, and especially females have been obviously abused property. We've been said that it's been perpetuated, the myth that we don't have souls. I mean,
awesome.
even the story of Adam and Eve, Eve, that Eve, she got him to eat that apple and then fucked all of humanity. It's she did that, did she? That evil, this perpetuation of the woman and female as evil and manipulative and gonna fucking, be the death of you, destroy you. This is something that is eons old, right? Eons. I mean, we're talking tens of thousands of years of this, and well, maybe it's not tens of thousands of years. I know, I was thinking, but it's how many years is it? It's definitely thousands of years, right? Of this perpetuated in society. So if you can think of your own healing process, right? I'm thinking of mine. I'm 35 years old. So in the 26 years of straight trauma before I had my total meltdown, when the truth was revealed to me, it nearly broke me. I mean,
y'all can listen to episode 33 before. I don't know. There's a the first time Rebecca
In
and
the
I
70s and in the
connected.
30s.
Yeah, there's one in the 30s and one in the 70s where she tells
Yeah.
her story. So yeah,
Part
definitely
of my story.
part of it.
Yeah.
Maybe 38.
Yeah. And so that was just, I don't know how many years of conscious, probably like since I was 13. So maybe 13 years of conscious pain being revealed almost killed me. And when I think about us as a society and how we're not there yet, but in the last 100 years, what has been revealed in terms of what we are revealing to ourselves, of what we will accept and what our value and worth really is, and sort of the revealing of the acceptance of more identity, and then also sort of the reveal that of the true identity, right, of the spirit. And it's not, for a lot of us, it feels not fast enough,
Yeah.
the way that things are being revealed, because we are compassionate beings. We want to see change now. We want to see people stop suffering now. But I was spending a lot of time thinking about what that would look like if we really tore the scab off of this wound of thousands of years of this trauma. And I really think that we would all like go insane ultimately.
Yeah.
I don't think that
to
our
process
bodies
at once. Yeah.
I don't think we could process it as a collective. I think it would be utter chaos and mayhem, way, way more than what we're experiencing right now. I think people would go
It would be
insane.
crippling. Yeah, insane.
It would be totally crippling. If I just think of my one experience as me as an individual, I mean, I think that it would be the end of our civilization
So much pain and suffering.
If we really revealed that level of it. So I can see how our collective is working together to reveal things. Yes, rapidly also, because I think I think 100 years is rapid in terms of thousands of years. It's obviously not fast enough in terms of if you are someone who has tapped into your compassion and that you really do want to see a different way being perpetuated. But, it does remind me of my own patience, in that there is a process to integrating all of this without destroying everything, without destroying the good as well. So,
which is that kind of apocalyptic view. I feel like totally, yeah. And also I can't get over the visceral response to you saying ripping the scab off the wound. I'm like, oh, that just feels horrible. Like, can't we nurture it with balm and let it heal it? And can't we do something different than rip it off? Which is what you're saying. Yeah. Yeah.
We're trying to do that. And maybe the wound isn't healing as quickly as we would like, and we're still stuck with some of these just horrific wounds. But this is the path. This is the path. And there is this, I think this is where it comes into the trust and faith.
Yeah.
That there is some path that we are collectively creating and harnessing and motivated by. And, there is alignment going on. I mean, the day that the FBI is supposed to complete its inquest is the day that Venus goes retrograde in Scorpio, about revealing the taboo, the hidden abuse of sexuality, our self-worth, our self-value. I mean, this is, the time when Jupiter went retrograde, expansion through the themes of Scorpio, death and rebirth of, the underbelly of sexuality. Again, the Me Too movement being born. I mean, these things are, as much as we feel the weight of the world on our shoulders, the weight of the world is on all of our shoulders. And it is shifting, through our conscious thought and conscious action. And, I think a lot of people are waking up, and we have to give them the opportunity to transition and to be rehabilitated without being like, you're not doing it fast enough. You're not doing it fast enough. I mean, if somebody would have said that to me in my lowest moments of revealing the truth to myself, and I've told you this before too, Natalie, I was I was raised a Jehovah's Witness until I was about, even after I'd left the religion, I would still debate people about how homosexuality was a sin when I was like 17 years
Wow.
old.
Wow.
You know, that was a belief that I actually held because I'd been taught that, and somehow that dogma had, I do not believe that. That is completely against my moral values and beliefs.
As of the
But
present
what I'm
day, right. Hmm.
but what I'm saying is if somebody still held me to the things that I've had to rehabilitate myself through, and it's faster, faster, get on this, you know, I would have never been able to do it. It's through the positive solution encouragement that I've been able to move forward, and you know, through self-reflection and responsibility of myself, you know, that I've been able to shift anything. So
Yeah.
we have to also, you know, hold people in a place of them being able to do that, and them being able to integrate all of this information that maybe has come quicker to us. And I would also say that, you know, for younger generations, you're lucky. You're lucky because you've been born into times where your beliefs and who you are is more widely accepted. And it came through the struggle of your ancestors.
Mm-hmm.
And those ancestors' generations are much more dense. They don't know that they have tools. They don't know that they have solutions. Teaching them, getting them to evolve is a much harder route. It takes a lot more patience. They didn't come into this world with as many tools as we did. They didn't come in with as clear a clear energy as we have.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we also have to appreciate that, you know, we've been gifted through the struggle of our ancestors, you know, and what people have gone through that came before us, the ability to have, you know, access to spirituality and to the care that we have now that they didn't have, and that some of them still don't know that they have. You know, what seems like, well, duh to us is not well, duh to them, you know.
Right. They're wired completely differently. And changing that wiring is a journey in the process.
Well, yeah. And, you know, I think even to do with like war, right? Like a lot of our grandparents, if that lived through World War I and World War II, those were horrific wars. Millions and millions of men died. And they died because they were trying to stop genocide and total annihilation of people. You know, I mean, they died because of fascism and because of Hitler. Like World War II happened because the world was trying to protect itself from, you know, these powers as well. This is a big portion of what war meant to our grandparents. So to us, you know, we're like, well, what about Vietnam? What about Iraq? You know, these are corporate wars, or these are wars where we can't see. We didn't live through, like my grandmother. You know, she was in England during World War II, and they lived through being bombed. You know, they lived through having to go down into the shelter all the time. And if you watch old films about that stuff, I mean, the Nazis occupied like parts of England too, Guernsey, the island of Guernsey, and they saw firsthand. They had all of their rights relinquished. They were prisoners basically, and they saw the abuses of humans. You know that. So when they think about war, when they vote on war, they have a different perspective to our perspective on war. And I'm not saying that war is in any way healthy or a good thing for us. I'm just saying that we need to educate ourselves too, to see where someone's opinion is really coming from, you know, and why they think the way that they do, and what has influenced their beliefs in why they might have a national pride or something like that. Why would an older man have a national pride? You know, maybe he fought in a war where people's lives really were at stake in some way, or there was some imminent threat, right? Like Hitler.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right.
So, I think all of these things we need to be thinking about when we're thinking about how do we rehabilitate society and how do we change these older generations. And some of their fucking beliefs are totally fucking whack. I am in no way advocating for their beliefs in any way. I'm not advocating for their beliefs. I'm just saying that what somebody has seen in their lifetime that makes them support a cause or something, that's where we can teach them. If we know where they're coming from, then we can help them to kind of see, well, actually, this is where we've come now, and this is what this means to me. And come from a place of understanding and compassion for why somebody is who they are, and instead of attack, because when you attack, you're just gonna get walls. Side.
Yeah,
you're just gonna get walls.
Mm-hmm. Totally. Yeah. Oh, well, there's our energy report, everybody.
Why do we always do this? At least he didn't. Okay, I'm not even going to say it because I know Natalie's just going to go off on a butthole tangent if I say it, so I'm not going
to. Okay, because I can talk all day, so you don't want to open that box.
Natalie and I are now on a video, a video sharing app, and her and I just
called Marco Polo, and I love it.
We just send videos to each other all day. It's been fun.
Marco Polo, if you have friends or family across the world where you keep trying to coordinate times to FaceTime with each other, but it never freaking gets aligned, get Marco Polo and just send each other video walkie-talkie messages. It's so fun. I promise. It's free and it's fun. And I have no affiliation with them. Just really thrilled with this. Marco Polo.
It's been fun for us.
It's so fun. Yeah.
All right. Here we fucking go.
Cool. Yes.
Monday,
wow.
The 8th
I feel like everyone just got a big download from all that. It was really intense. Could we do like a deep breath for us and them?
No, get right into it. Yeah.
Let's do it. Everyone just like, if it's safe, just close your eyes. Breathe in, out. Let it out. Just allow yourself to notice your breath. They say it takes 6 breaths to reset. And my nose is pretty stuffy now.
I was also just thinking like the mudra will be really good. We could do the mudra too. So I picked a mudra today for this week.
Okay. Awesome.
As our ritual.
Okay.
So the weekly theme for October 8th to Sunday the 14th is surrendering what is no longer needed.
Ooh.
So again, we're still sort of, I mean, it's very close to transformation and death, right? Like we're on this theme right now. We're in the theme.
Apparently.
Is what's happening. The ritual I picked was this nice grounding mudra.
Okay,
so
cool.
Mudras are, they're like yoga for the hands, basically. You know, there's points for the organs and the meridians, and which all relate to emotions in the body too, and have different, they help us to process and integrate different emotional states, you know, so you can use mudras to kind of activate those different points or support and nurture those points.
Can you verbally guide us through how to do this mudra with which fingers go where?
Yes. So so this mudra is for grounding, release, and support. And I forgot the mudra book that this comes from, but we're going to mention her at the end.
Okay.
So we bring the hands together. We connect the tips of the index and the pinky fingers. We curl the middle and ring fingers to touch the thumb tips.
Should they be
we flip it?
Okay.
Yeah. See this? Right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Then we flip it.
Okay.
So the fingers are pointing down.
Okay.
And you're going to have it basically, you can rest the hands in front of the belly or on the thighs, kind of down by the pelvis, by the root chakra, where you can get a lot of grounding. So it'll look like this.
Cool. Can you show us the card again too? That's cool.
Pointer finger, pinky finger touching,
Mm-hmm.
ring finger, middle finger curled, and then you've got the thumb touching the tips of the ring finger and the middle finger.
Cool.
Yes.
Awesome. Wait, but it looks like the fingers don't have to touch. Yeah. Okay. And if you're listening audio, we should put a picture of this in the show notes so people can see it too.
I like to touch them.
You like to touch them? It's okay? Okay. Well, choose your own path. Touch or don't touch the middle fingers.
I'll have to ask my friend if I'm not allowed to do that.
So how long do we
Maybe
hold
I'm blasting myself into 3 minutes. Typically
3 minutes.
3 to 7 minutes for mudras.
Cool.
So yeah, a nice little grounding mudra that you can use at any point during the day or during your meditation or during shavasana. But if you feel yourself like getting super stressed out, you can just take a little breath and do some breaths just like Natalie did there a few minutes ago and practice this mudra.
Cool. Thank you.
So, yeah, the card this week, the tarot card, is the Two of Pentacles.
Cool.
I missed that. What were you doing?
I was showing you my mudra style. I have to lift it up really high.
I like that. I don't know. It's like my hands want to touch. They just want to touch each other.
Maybe they should snug.
It's like they get more, I feel more balance or something. So the Two of Pentacles. Pentacles being an earthly, material, kind of physical energy. Two, speaking of like balance, harmony, putting both, masculine, feminine energy, kind of both polarity, right? But also partnership. So this week on Monday, the 8th, we have a new moon in Libra, and this card is very Libran to me because it's all about balance, right?
Cool.
Right. So yeah, and the imagery on this card, the guy, he has his two pentacles that
Hold
he's
it
like
up.
juggling.
Oh, you don't have it, do you?
I don't have it. He's like juggling it.
Mm-hmm.
But he's like kind of doing it in a fun, playful way. It's not like
he's not like stressed out.
Stoic.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's like kind of on one foot or the other. He's a little bit like a court jester type or a circus kind of. It's like a playful vibe. And that's really the vibe of this too. Is like, yeah, we're learning to balance. It's fucking hard sometimes, but we can kind of play with it and have fun with it and see it in a way where instead of being like, God, I'm so out of balance, being like, okay, I guess I need to like bring this up. Guess I need to like be more flexible in this way. And this card really is about flexibility as well, so it does feel like a bit of a circus lately, like in every way, with all the comings and goings, like we're juggling responsibilities, relationships, goals. And this card is about really embracing the challenge. And something that my practitioner helped me to tap into in my own healing process recently was the fact that, I'm really good at rising to the occasion in crisis, and I'm a little bit have prided myself on being a last minute girl, if I have to write, like if I need to write a paper or if
cramming.
I need to write I'm a crammer. I'm a fucking crammer.
Okay.
I like to wait until the last minute and I like to cram that shit. And it's
all good. Okay.
But, what he was showing me was that, like, it's taught me how to live in sort of this crisis mode of, like, constant cramming. And, one of the reasons why, also my practitioner is Abdi Asadi, for anybody who is interested. He has an amazing podcast and a book, Shadows on the Path, and he's been doing what he's doing for over 30 years. And he's just a solid, no nonsense person who's also so compassionate. But anyway, you know, when you've had to survive a lot in your life and you've had a
Yep.
lot of crisis,
Yep.
it can be very disconcerting to be bored and to have nothing going on. And what we do sometimes when we're bored or when things are going well is we create crisis, you know, and I found myself doing it the other night when I had a new tenant moving in, and I was super stressed out about it or I had a tenant moving out, and I was very stressed out about it because she'd been a bit of a difficult tenant, and bless her on her path. But you know, the night before I had to go into the city, I was up at like 2 a.m. and I was like, what if she's a squatter? What if I can't get her out of the room? You know, and I was like, why the fuck are you having this crisis right now? Like,
Manufacturing a crisis out of nowhere.
I'm like, this isn't an actual thing you're dealing with. This is something that you're creating. So, you know, learning about when we are creating that crisis and instigating it through awfulizing, right? The awfulizing of the what could happen that's the worst fucking thing.
Worry. Yeah.
The worry. You know, and sometimes we do it because we don't know how to not be in crisis, because it's uncomfortable for us to just not be all worked up.
Yep.
And that's a real thing that we have to look at, is that like sometimes some of this, like the challenges that we're facing are to do with us creating challenges through our worry and through our energy that are creating more of a challenge than we need.
Legit, this morning, I manufactured my own drama about all the ways that I'm failing at life. And then I was like, wait a second, reality check, Natalie. You got to do some shit, but pull yourself together here. So yeah. I totally get it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the challenge is like not letting ourselves get worked up over every little thing. I mean, there's some situations you can't help but maybe get worked up in the moment. Mm-hmm. But checking in, is there a part of me that actually enjoys the drama of this all? Is there a part of me that enjoys arguing with people in the comments on Instagram? Do I love it? Do I really feel like I need to like engage in the drama of this? You know, is this part of an addiction to crisis?
Came here for the comments.
This is just a question. I'm just posing a question here. I am not in any way.
Oh, I love it. Because this is where I like to be.
I'm not saying don't answer comments. I'm just posing a question. Is there a part that might be attracted to the drama that keeps us in conflict and engaged in that energy?
Is there a part of you that wants to fail at whatever you're worried about failing at? That's where I have to ask myself, because sometimes the failure itself is a relief. And what can I do to get that relief without having to take it to the crisis point?
Do you like blowing shit up? You know, maybe we don't have to learn all of our lessons the hard way.
Right.
You know, maybe we can give ourselves permission to be boring and to like just be totally
mundane,
full on mundane. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that's not spiritual. You know, it's mundane is very grounding.
Yes.
So is there a way to create more peace inside of you by simply disengaging the feeling of crisis during difficulty?
Wow. And I just want to share, if people, like, my immediate reaction to that is to do faster EFT on myself, which I love. I don't know if you know faster EFT, because we haven't talked about it.
We have.
Peace. Okay. Mm-hmm. I just need to share it now, because I'm going to share it because this energy report is just going any direction it wants today.
Welcome to 3 hours with Natalie and Rebecca.
I know, right? I know. But seriously, this tool, Faster EFT, and there's similar tools. Everyone needs a tool to help themselves in that moment when they realize they're manufacturing the crisis. You can take a deep breath, 6 deep breaths, and just come back into yourself. I like to use Faster EFT, where you tap above your eyebrow and you say to yourself, it's safe for me to let it go. Tap next to your eye, on the outside of your eye, safe for me to let it go. Tap under your eye, it's safe for me to let it go. Tap the that's clavicle area. You know, if you want to do this, you can look it up. Fast Start EFT. It's all over the internet. Just tap that. It's safe for me to let it go. Grab your wrist. Peace. And doing that, a few rounds of that just settles me down with those emotions that want to just like go crazy and keep the crisis going. And it shifts the whole neuronal pathway of like, okay, I'm going to go that way instead of this way.
Yeah.
It's so helpful.
And we should also talk about what these points are. These
Sure.
points here are triple warmers. They're where we
no idea what that means.
They're places where we hold excess stress. You know, this is what this is.
The straw, everybody.
There's a reason why you do this when you're stressed out. This is a place where we store stress.
So
like
for audio listeners, people who are only listening to the audio, we're talking about the points around above your eyebrows, outside your eyes, and under your eyes. Yeah, that whole sinus around your eye area.
Temples.
The temples. So what do you call those?
These here in the temples is the area of the triple warmer. So this is a spot where we hold a lot of overwhelm, a lot of stress. And the one here on the wrist that you're talking about, these are heart points. Yeah. So that peace you're feeling, if you can come into what this EFT actually means, this tool,
emotional freedom technique.
Yeah, it's not just that the tapping creates. It's not the tapping of your body. It's the tapping of these specific points.
Right. That's on specific acupressure points
that have an emotion, that also process emotional information, just like the mudra. So there are a lot of tools that you can use where you're helping support your organs, your meridians, your chakras to move through this energy, like with EFT, like with mudra, like with yoga, like with acupuncture, energy work, massage, neurolymphatic massage, body brushing. These things really do help you to move emotional energy especially when you direct it to specific areas where you're holding these or the energy is registering, in the body. Yeah. So that's actually a part of the self-healing mentorship I do, is where we talk about how to kind of spot the discomfort that you're feeling emotionally, physically, before you even know that you're emotionally off, because sometimes we're so tuned out from that and numbed out. So there's a way that all these things are connected. I'm really only saying this because a lot of people feel skeptical when they hear about different modalities, that they maybe don't understand. But so I'm just really explaining that the body is just, everything is so interconnected. So some of these different techniques, they're all pretty related in terms of like most of the techniques have a similar kind of background to them, right?
Right. Right. Like our body, we have our meridians. I'm sure many people are familiar with this, but maybe not someone listening. We have all these meridians, and if you've ever had, people listening have never had acupuncture, go try it. It's I can feel because my mom's an acupuncturist actually, so I've had her do it, and she'll put in a point, and I just feel the energy like whoosh. It's amazing. Yes. So we're just doing it on a very small scale with tapping and with other mudras and things. It's amazing. If you don't have a tool, here's the bottom line I think of this is, if you don't have a tool to help your body process emotions, get one.
Yes. And it might be as simple as just body brushing or something like that too. That's a perfectly good way to free the neurolymphatic points. The meridians are the highways of energy, basically, that run all the way up the top to the bottom of our body. And they help connect the organs which are connected through the neurolymphatic points on the meridians, and the chakras, right, which are the main energy centers. So, there's like tons of stuff that you can be doing to give your body some support, and without becoming overloaded by the information. Why don't you just try this week after you get out of the shower, give your body a little massage. If there's a sore spot, like, sometimes it'll be on the ribs, sometimes it will be on the clavicle, sometimes it'll be right under the armpits. You feel a sore spot, it's probably a neurolymphatic point that is supporting an organ and a meridian that is got some toxins in it. You can support that by giving it a little rub. And that's as simple as it is. Cool. You feel your body, feel the points on your body that feel sore, and give them a rub. That's the easiest way to that's the easiest tool I can give. Amazing. Like, you don't act, even if you don't know what you're doing, like, you're helping,
Just trust yourself there. Don't hurt. Don't poke yourself so it hurts more, but just gentle and trust the flow.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm loving this. Okay. I'm loving this.
I know we've talked about so much, we never have to do another energy report.
This is our final
We've
energy
covered
report.
Everything.
This is it.
We finally covered it all. All right. So okay. I'm not going to say too much about this new moon. It's a new moon in Libra. Honestly, I feel like we've talked Libra to death over the last couple weeks.
We've talked a lot of Libra. So what are some things people...
and you can definitely re-listen to the last couple of weeks and if this is your first time tuning in, all that information still applies, so check it out. Last week and the week before, we talked a lot about Libra being, it's ruled by Venus, which is our planet of love and money, but also self-value and self-worth. We know that Venus is retrograde right now in Scorpio. So, what we're coming to balance with this new moon in Libra, Venusian themes. So to do with our relationships and definitely our relationship to ourself and our self-worth. Libra's the best, expression of Libran energy is to not look for the black or white answer to something. This is wrong, this is right, but to hold polarity in the same moment. So
not have to reconcile everything.
Not have to reconcile. Exactly. It's to go, things are good and bad.
Which is so that Two of Pentacles, because the Two of Pentacles to me means, I was just actually meditating on this card recently, and it was for me feeling like, okay, and keep engaging with the old. You don't have to make the old wrong and throw it all away. Keep engaging with it as you engage with the new, and let it, and that's that center point of that infinity going around the Two Pentacles. You are allowing the energy to go through you at the center, and you don't have to be all or none. Yes.
Yeah. That's something that we've definitely talked about, and it being on 10-8, 8 is the number of, infinity, basically, and abundance and balance.
I love 8. It's a great number. Yeah. 8 is great.
You feeling real emotional? Creativity, access your creativity, paint it out, draw it out, write it out, whatever
dance it out.
Yeah. Just do whatever you need to do. The shadow sides to Libra, being too detached, trying to think your way through without involving your intuitive self and not just the reasoning side of you. Narcissism, superficiality, blaming others, denial. These are some of the lower forms of Libran energy. But the higher forms, diplomacy, fairness, justice. Real justice is a win-win solution, across the board. Where can everybody win? Where does humanity as a whole win? This is what we want to be looking for.
And spirit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's the most disappointing part of the whole Kavanaugh thing to me, really, is that, it could have been a real, not that, he's obviously a fucking idiot, and I don't want him or his values at all in the Supreme Court. But for any man who has been, who this has come to light, for them, that they have, perhaps when they were younger, they were blackout drunk all the time. They don't fucking remember being belligerent or accosting someone or being violent or any of that, you know. There have definitely been nights in my life where I don't remember
Me
my
too.
behavior. So
Hmm.
but this could have been a moment, this can be a moment for him or any other man to take responsibility and to say, like, how can we shift this moving forward? And I
Hmm.
think that would garner a lot of more respect from society, as opposed to, you know, like vilifying them. I think if a man were to do that, I mean, that's really what we need. We need the responsibility. And I think that's the most painful part of this whole experience, is that the
Hmm.
responsibility is not being taken. So rehabilitation can't happen. And, yeah, I think,
I want to say I'm
I forget
seeing,
why I began talking about
well, I'm seeing that across any of these injustices that we're facing that are coming up. I mean, it's not just men, but like, with racism and,
yeah.
especially in the spiritual community, people are wanting spiritual white women to take responsibility for standing with, the white men and their supremacy and stuff. It's like it's happening on every level here. Where really
Yeah.
it's like a
It's just so
refraction of
much
light within a
blame.
diamond
Yeah.
here. We're
We're just
cutting the
like, it's
sides of
your
this
fault.
diamond.
It's your fault. It's this fault. It's this fault. It's like blame, blame, blame. And it is on all sides, but it is also like, you know, we do all have to take responsibility. And that's really, I think that's the moment that we're waiting for in terms of like the, you know, this sexual assault.
Yeah.
I think we're
Yeah.
waiting for these public men to be like, I'm so fucking sorry. What can I do to like work towards education of
Yeah.
making this
Yeah.
not happen again? You know, and it was
Yeah.
amazing to me with the clients that came forward to talk about some of these things, that how many times it was a drunk young man.
Hmm.
I found that to be really telling. And I think when we think of drunk young men, we just think of like them fucking off. I don't think we think of like the psychological reasoning why they might be drunk all the time as well. I mean, obviously there is like the mob mentality of just stupidity and being dumb, but I also think that there are psychological reasons why they're numbing from their emotions, maybe because at a young age they don't feel like they're allowed to process their emotions, so they begin heavily drinking. I think
Yep.
these are huge
Yep.
issues, and
Yep.
that's an issue for all of us. Like we all should want for young men to have other outlets than drinking, to be able to connect with their communities, their friends, and I don't think it's just this issue of like, well, they're just fucking idiots and that's what they do. I
It's
think
deep
that
wounding all around. I mean,
it's deep wounding, yeah.
yeah.
So people who are hurt other people, and you know, there's just layers and layers and layers here to
Hmm.
it all.
Yep.
And it's not a black and white thing. It's not a black and white thing at all. So I think, you know, that's where we have to be angry, you know, and let ourselves be in our anger to do with what's happened to us, and to stand in our power. Uh, and also to see that there's something else that exists as well, which is
Hmm.
a deep wound
Hmm. Hmm.
that causes men to hurt other women and other individuals, you
Hmm.
know, not just women, other beings, you
We're
know.
we are all causing harm and pain to ourselves and others on some level, and how can we all
Yeah.
witness that in ourselves and others and be compassionate and use our tools to heal ourselves and to help heal those who would like our support and healing as they heal
Yeah.
themselves. And that's,
Or
that's
at least just find ways to stop perpetuating it in terms
right.
of how we're dealing with this stuff.
And we're
And that
all,
takes, it's
whew,
hard. It's fucking hard.
so,
It's so
that's
hard.
shadow work. That's,
No judgment here, because it's
oh,
fucking hard. So, you know,
I
like
know.
if you find that you've been reactionary or whatever, that's just part of your process right now. It's like, you know, I think all of the things are just part of everybody being where they're at in their
Right,
process.
right.
So, you know,
Yeah.
like no, like it's always that we're striving to be like more open-hearted and more conscious. It's kind of a place where we're not ever going to access that 100%, but
Pure.
we're always
Mm-hmm.
striving for it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I know.
So
And as someone, as we all, like, I know for me, it's been so intense to also wake up to my own ways of how I'm unconsciously perpetuating things and to be responsible for that. And that is really, really, really intense too. So people who are taking responsibility and working through that for whatever lenses that's through, you know, I see you, I hear you. It's intense. And keep going.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So the other major shift this week is on Tuesday, the day after this new moon, Mercury goes into Scorpio. So on this new moon, we're
Oh wow.
definitely going to be feeling this. And Scorpio rules the eighth house, right? Which is
Wow.
the house of,
Eights all around.
sex and death and rebirth and the taboo and the occult and the underbelly and all the shadow things. So for me, I was tapping into this energy, and this is really about where we walk our walk. Where are we not walking our walk, but still talking the talk?
Oh,
right?
Wow.
A deep reconciling of that inside of ourselves.
That's that responsibility. I mean, we just talked about it.
Exactly. What's the undercurrent of what we say or think? Where are we just full of shit, really? This energy says,
compost that shit.
That's right. Again, with the fucking Scorpio and Natalie and the shit.
I'm just owning it by now. I have no shame.
I know.
I love shit.
So, there's more to truth than just the words. There's the actions, and you can't preach to be a humanitarian if you believe that certain humans don't deserve love. So if you're a humanitarian, humans are your priority, and whether or not they're behaving perfectly or not, it has to be that we're finding win-win solutions that include all humans. And that's fucking hard for us because we are angry and we're rightly so hurt by a lot of the things that we see. But, it takes a lot. It takes a really big person to kind of uncover that hurt and see where it can turn into helping, and it's not always accessible to us, and maybe it's not accessible to us right now. That's okay too. But I think in terms of our own personal responsibility to ourselves, that this Mercury and Scorpio, Mercury, our perception, our thoughts, our dialogue, our communication, yeah, I also think of this in terms of a lot of people, and me myself too. I found that I've been kind of blindsided by, well, maybe not blindsided because I feel like I knew, but other people, some of my clients have been talking to me about where they have been dealing with broken commitments with people and have felt blindsided that someone said, oh, I took them at face value and they said all of this. And then it turned out that it was, they broke a commitment or whatever. People show you a lot more when you pay attention to not just what they say, but what's going on with their body, what's going on with their behavior. I think we have to look a little bit deeper, and maybe we need to be a little bit more patient in letting people reveal who they are to us at this time, and not just taking things at face value. Scorpio is really good at kind of looking at what's really going on underneath the mask, So if you don't feel so yeah, just doing a little bit more detective work sometimes around people and not just blindly trusting in the potential and the nice words that they may say, but giving them a little bit of an opportunity in some way to show you that their life and their behavior actually matches their words, and obviously holding people accountable if they don't. So I've seen a lot of selfishness masked as self-care recently too. A lot of really
what does that look like?
Just breaking commitments to other people sometimes, or just in terms of I feel like sometimes people feel this knee-jerk reaction, like, I gotta take care of myself. But if there is like, well, I don't even want to divulge it because I don't want to get into it. Well, because it's a person. I just like I
It's
feel
personal.
like it's personal, but also it's not necessary that I talk about it. All I want to say about it is that you know that it's selfishness masked as self-care if you're looking for inner peace outwardly instead of inwardly. If you're trying to change things outwardly as if that's going to be the shift that will make you feel some inner peace, it's not about what's going on out here. It's about what's going on inside. I had
It's
to
the
recently
inside game.
I had to recently get real with a guy because I kept being really frustrated with him that he was like unavailable, and he is unavailable. He's going through some intense grief right now. And he's always been open about that. But for me, I wasn't really tuning into the fact that his unavailability made me feel not lovable.
Ooh.
So I was not feeling at peace inwardly, and I was making it about
The outside
somehow
situation.
this outside situation, which was actually showing me where I need to cultivate the inner peace inside. So it was a gift, and I think that's just really it here. We need to not just talk our talk, but walk the walk too. The actions and the words should match. Beware of lashing out with this energy because Scorpio knows how to say really mean things and it cuts deep.
Yep.
Scorpio can't do superficial, it's got to express that core self. And this is an interesting time in discovering our hidden motivations, connecting with our deepest passions, desires, and secrets being revealed, So that's Mercury and Scorpio, y'all.
Compassion, patience, and gentleness.
Yeah. And yeah, exactly. Patience for sure.
Patience. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow.
I need a haircut, y'all. Looking at my hair and I'm like, I've got an appointment. Like,
I need one too. My bangs are totally gone. I don't even have bangs anymore because they're like grew out. And I want them back.
Well, I kind of didn't bother today because I'm like, I don't usually go to the city on the weekends, but I had to. I got back at like 10 o'clock last night, and this morning
gosh.
I had a session straight away. So I was like,
you are a radiant goddess.
This is what y'all are getting today.
I'll take it.
So next week, yeah. Oh, let me find that book real quick so you guys know about the Mudra.
I'm going to talk a little bit while you find that.
Yeah.
So I just want to say again, thank you everyone who has responded to my questions about like the name and about, what DFB is becoming, what it is and what it's evolving into. Because I'm really holding that Two of Pentacles with Dream, Freedom, Beauty right now. It's been the old and what is the new? Because having moved here, I feel like a completely different person, even though there's parts of me that are the same. It's like, wow. So I'm really sitting with what is the, where are we taking DFB? So I don't know. I really feel this call to bring more community into it and to make it more of a platform to help amplify and signal boost others in the community and help other people create content that attracts the people they're meant to serve. And so I'm just investigating how can that be something sustainable for me to coordinate and for my team, because there's a whole team, and also for the community as they participate. And what does that all look like? There's so much potential here. There's so much, we've got a good thing going here. And now where do we take it? So I'm really sitting with that, and I appreciate all of your input and responses, and feel free to reach out. I might not get to respond. I try to respond to everybody, but I don't always get to. So yeah, working on getting better at that. But cool. So you're back now. Tell us, who is the Mudra book and deck by?
So this is by
Wait,
it's
hold it up
Mudra.
longer.
I know. Is it not backwards when you read that?
No, it says mudras for awakening the energy body. Okay.
Yeah, it looks backward to me. And it's written by Alison De Nicola and artwork by Sabina Espinet. So these are great. I love these ones. I also have another deck, but
What's
yeah,
the name? Just read the title and author for us again, please.
Mudras for Awakening the Energy Body, written by Alison De Nicola, Denicola, and the
Cool.
artwork is by Sabina Espinet.
Cool.
I hope I said those right, but I'm not sure if I did.
Awesome.
And yeah, my decks are still up too. My Oracle
Cool.
deck and my affirmation deck. I have one space left for the private mentorship in November.
Awesome.
So if you're interested in that, yeah, one spot left. Otherwise, if you want to talk to me about January, email me and we can, you can always set up an earlier payment plan so that it makes it more feasible for you to do it. But again,
Cool.
I only have 4 spots at a time. So, because I like to give my clients all my vibe.
All the vibe. You get to go deep. Cool.
Yeah, I don't like to do too many people because then it's like, I don't want to overextend myself.
So this mentorship, there's one spot left, and it's for, tell us what benefit or impact this mentorship has on people's lives.
Yeah, it's the private self-healing mentorship. So it's an 8-week course, and it's all about like learning how to understand what's going on with your process. What limited beliefs are really hidden underneath everything, what experiences they came from, learning how to just be a detective of your own healing, whether that's through the physical body, through the emotional body, the intellectual body. And each week we have a different lesson and we have homework, and it's really personal because it's about each person's personal healing journey and how they can connect to spirituality in the best way for them. So it's not about doctrine or dogma either. And also, we start off the course with an understanding of like your personal astrology and kind of some of the themes around wounding and expression of your unique imprint into the world. And they're just great. Like I love doing them because they are so unique to each person. Each person just has like a completely different process that they go through. And I find that the weekly is good because it's like helps people to feel accountable to any goals that they have right now and overcoming any blocks that they've been feeling. So yeah, one spot left for that. And then yeah, if you're having a hard time or you're feeling energetically blocked, reach out. I do distance sessions and in-person sessions in Brooklyn. So check out my website, RebeccaConran.com. And if you do add me on Instagram, I'm not on there for the next month, but
for
I'll
October.
Be back.
Mm-hmm.
That's right, for
cool.
October. I'm taking a break, but I'll be back.
Breaktober. Awesome.
That's right.
Cool. RebeccaConran.com. And if you're on YouTube, FYI, there's a whole podcast, Dream Freedom Beauty. Go check it out on iTunes or whatever podcast app you use. And we've got over 120 episodes. I have no idea where we're at right now, but we've got tons of episodes for you to meet all kinds of amazing people. I get messages all the time from people who are like, thank you, Natalie. You've connected me with people who have just changed my life. And I mean, just there's so many amazing people doing amazing work. And that's what we hope to help highlight with putting that power to heal back in your hands, putting that power to make your true aligned choices back in your hands. So that's what we're doing on the podcast, Dream Freedom Beauty. Go check it out, dreamfreedombeauty.com, iTunes. I listen to Podcast Addict, funny name, but that's my Android app. And check it out. And if you enjoy this,
Android.
I use a Mac computer and an Android phone.
Android. What?
I am not 100% Mac.
We've stopped becoming friends. No, I'm sorry.
I live like a few miles from Apple. It's like kind of a sin to use an Android, but I also live a few miles from Google, so whatever.
It's the same. Yeah.
It's all the same game.
And thanks
But
to
yeah,
you, Natalie,
share it
for
with
being
a friend.
special person and
Oh, thanks.
connecting and being the director of this hub of healers
I love
too.
it. I love being the ringleader, the captain of the ship. Yeah,
we love you.
Yeah, thank you. And if this was helpful to y'all, share it with a friend. Make sure to tag me and Rebecca, even though Rebecca's off Instagram. But whatever, tag her anyways.
Tag me anyway. Y'all
tag
never
her anyways.
Me. Y'all never
Some people
tag
do.
Me.
Some people do.
Tag
But yeah, this is a team effort here. Me and Rebecca. And thank you everybody for listening. And we'll see you again next week. Awesome. Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you, listeners. Thank you, everybody.